Hello everyone, Bill Monty here, and whether you're listening to an episode of Tales from South Florida or Bill Monty's Guide for Getting Older, you're hearing the exact same episode today. It's a nice little short one, but today is September 30th, 2025, and it is International Podcast Day. So I wanted to just take a moment, first off, to say thank you to all of you who have been supporting my podcast. I started the podcast journey in June of 2023. I'm recording this a couple of days before September 30th, 2025. So it has been a wonderful experience. I have had the opportunity to share ideas, to have conversations with some of you, to interview people I've never met before, to meet people, other podcasters I've never met before. I've been able to share my memories of growing up in South Florida and just growing up and growing older. I've tried to pass on as much of this information as I can to you. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you're listening. If you haven't heard one or the other podcast before, you can visit talesfromsouthflorida.com to hear the Tales from South Florida podcast. And for Bill Monty's Guide for Getting Older, it's on Apple, it's on Spotify, it's on iHeartRadio, it's anywhere fine podcasts can be found. So if you're listening to this, you already know where you like to listen to podcasts from. Just go ahead and type in Bill Monty and see what pops up. Oh my. International Podcast Day. This is a day dedicated to promote the growing media of podcasts and all the technologies that surround it. Around the world, and it is really a worldwide thing, people listen to their favorite podcast to keep up with the latest news, technology, entertainment, or information. Whatever reason you listen to podcasts, you have a reason to celebrate. So if you're a fan of the big stars that have podcasts, people like, Amy Poehler and certainly Joe Rogan, Ted Danson, those are some of the people that I listen to. But, you can hear or see these people on TV anytime you want. I want to talk to you for just a moment about people like myself, independent podcasters. We generally are the people who we're not making any money. It's called a hobby. Would we like to make money? Sure, we'd love to make some money doing this because we devote a lot of time, a lot of heart, and a lot of our passion into doing this in the hopes that it touches someone. I could read you a lot of information about stats on podcasting, and while it seems like there's a lot, actually independent podcasters make up a much larger percentage of active podcasts in the world right now than all those big name stars put together. Yeah, they've got all the big money. They've got certainly more listeners, but it's the independent podcasters, much like your local restaurant that's not a chain restaurant. We are really staying the heart and soul of podcasting. When the next movie comes along, the next TV show, whatever it might be, these people, once they've done their thing, they'll move on. Independent podcasters, we are here to stay. We are here for the long run. Most independent podcasters, just so you know, don't make it past episode number 5. If they make it to episode number 8, they're considered very successful. If you're interested, for my podcast, I've now recorded between the 2 podcasts and my YouTube videos and YouTube episodes, probably somewhere around 140 different episodes. So I like that. It makes me feel good. And I love hearing the comments from you. I also want to take a moment here, though, to celebrate people who are not named Bill Monty, who are podcasting. And I hope that you will take a moment to type in the name of these shows I'm about to give you and give a listen to these podcasts. These are people that I know, or some of them are people I don't know at all. I've never met them, but I really enjoy what they're doing. I enjoy hearing what they're putting out there into the podcast world. I think you will too. Here are some of the people that I think you should be listening to. There's a man named Dave Campbell. Dave lives in Canada. He has, believe it or not, 9 podcasts. I'm not going to list them all here. You can visit Dave's website, howtopodcast.ca, and get a list of all the shows that he does. Dave's a very important voice for independent podcasters. You've heard him on both of my shows. I actually put in an interview, or we just got together and talked for an episode on his show, and I put it up there. So a really nice, super nice man. And he does the How to Podcast series, which is how I found him. And I take part in every Saturday. We have a meetup group of independent podcasters where we talk about what goes on. So the How to Podcast series, if you are someone who's interested in podcasting or like to know how to become a podcaster, go to the How to Podcast series with Dave Campbell and join our meetup groups. It's free. He's not selling anything. No one's going to ask you for your personal information. No one's going to reach out to you and try to scam you or spam you or anything. It's just independent podcasters getting together to talk about what they love doing, podcasting. Another one that I like, it's called Legends of the Old West. Now, I was born in Texas, so I love Old West stories, cowboys. Legends of the Old West is a podcast that uses a great dramatic style to tell the stories. Each season focuses on one subject, or it's like the current one, I think, is Davy Crockett and Daniel Boone. In the past, they've talked about building the railroads across America. Legends of the Old West is by Black Barrel Media. I think you'll enjoy it. I want to say right now, by the way, I have no affiliation with these people. I don't make any money. If you go listen to this, I'm not getting any payback on this or anything. These are just podcasts that on this International Podcast Day, I hope you'll go and give these folks a listen. Dad Space, For Dads by Dads, another Dave Campbell podcast. Give that a listen, especially if you're a dad and you're struggling or thinking you're alone in the world with what you're going through. That's the place to be. You need to take a walk over to Dad Space. My friend David Beckmeyer has Outrage Overload. If, like me, the current political situation or the world situation is starting to get you down, Dave uses the science of how our brains work to talk about the overload that we're all feeling. He's talking to the people in the community, in the business, to the psychologists, to the doctors, and not in a clinical way that's hard to understand, but in a very streetwise way that tells us how we can all survive this while still acknowledging that we do have feelings. We are angry and we are afraid. Again, that's Outrage Overload. I think you'll love that one. Oh, That's a Fact. My friend Joshua Hess. Joshua, he does a great job of bringing up all these obscure things that you don't ever think about, or maybe if you're like me, you think about them all the time. But what is the answer to the questions of why this and why that? Is this good? Is this bad? Joshua's the guy who's doing it. So you must listen to Oh, That's a Fact with Joshua Hess. On my podcast, Bill Monty's Guide for Getting Older, I spoke at one point with a man named Harold Todman, and he said he wanted to do a podcast. He was kind of inspired. He and his wife wanted to do it. Well, they started one, and it's one of my favorite new podcasts to listen to. It's called You Still Have Time. So Hope and Harold Todman. You must give this a listen. I know it's available on Spotify. I'm not sure where else it's available. I listen on Spotify to it. They talk about the getting older like I do, but they do it in a great, light, lovely way. Their dynamic as a couple is fantastic. You must give them a listen. You Still Have Time with Hope and Harold Todman. Afterlight Fictions. Okay. Sometimes you get jealous of what other podcasters are doing. Mr. Jonathan Marsh, I'm jealous because he's producing NPR-type quality episodes and telling the stories that we know, maybe we heard when we were kids. It's very family-friendly. These are all stories that we know, but they're told in a unique style. So a little Edgar Allan Poe here, a little Grimm fairy tale there. You must give Afterlight, that's Afterlight, L-I-G-H-T, Fictions a try. And Jonathan even has a version where you can put it on there to help you go to sleep. He's kind of retooled the whole production. So you'll love it. It really is wonderful. And finally, I want to talk about my friend Jeff Allen Wolf. Jeff Allen Wolf has a political podcast called A World Gone Mad, in which he talks very plain and very frank about his feelings about the current government and administration and where he thinks it's going wrong in the world. And he just wants you to be aware. So it's unbiased, it's uncensored. It's you might want to turn the volume down if the kids are in the car because some of the language gets salty every now and then. But Jeff is telling it like he is. He's not holding anything back. And I think if you're someone who wants to stay on top of it and you're tired of the spin that either the conservative or liberal media is putting on things, you need to listen to someone who's frankly just going to tell you what's going on from his point of view. So that's A World Gone Mad with Jeff Allen Wolf. But there are tons, and I've probably forgotten some. If I've forgotten to add you here, forgive me. But there are tons and tons of independent podcasters out there. So whether or not you listen to mine, you listen to these people that I've told you about, or you're just enjoying the people that you listen to, take a moment to rate their podcast, to leave a review, to leave them a comment. So often we just don't hear from the people who are listening, but we know you're there because we see the stats from the platforms that we load everything onto. Hey, this was just a quick shout out. Happy International Podcast Day to everyone. And again, thank you so much for your support of Tales from South Florida and Bill Monty's Guide for Getting Older. And from all the independent podcasters in the world, I just want to say thank you. And as I say at the end of every episode, be safe and be kind.